When people talk about Johnny Cash, they remember the black coat, the deep voice, the tough exterior, and the gentle soul buried underneath. They remember the rebel who refused to bow to the Nashville system, the man who sang for prisoners, stood up for the poor, and fought the demons inside him every day. But there's another side of Johnny Cash the world rarely hears about. A side filled with frustration, rivalry, disappointment, and quietly held grudges. Even at the height of his success, there were musicians, big names, cultural giants that Cash simply could not stand working with. These are the icons who pushed Johnny Cash to his limit. Elvis Presley, the friend he loved, but the superstar he resented. People often forget that Johnny and Elvis started at the same small label, Sun Records. They toured together, played the same circuits, and slept on the same buses. Johnny admired Elvis deeply, but he also resented the storm that followed him everywhere. Elvis wanted perfection. Johnny wanted authenticity. The clash was inevitable. Cash hated the Hollywood pressure Elvis brought into the room, the managers, the agents, the photographers. Working with Elvis became impossible because there was no space left for music. Every rehearsal turned into a performance for someone else. Johnny once admitted privately that Elvis's fame created a circus around simple sessions. Cash loved him as a man, but hated working with him as an artist. Elvis was a dreamer. Johnny wanted discipline. Two legends, two separate worlds. 2. Waylon Jennings, his best friend and his hardest battle. Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings were brothers in spirit, but working with Waylon was another story entirely. Waylon refused rules. Johnny loved chaos, but he needed structure. Put the two together in a studio and sparks flew. Waylon would walk in late, change arrangements at the last minute, and push engineers to their breaking point. Johnny admired his outlaw heart, but hated the mess he brought with him. Waylon didn't care who he frustrated, producers, musicians, or Cash himself. They would fight, argue, then laugh like nothing happened. They remained close until the end, but Johnny admitted Waylon drained them. Working with Waylon felt like riding a wild bull. You stayed on because you loved them, not because it was easy. 3. Merle Haggard, the rival who needed to prove he was better. Merle Haggard adored Johnny Cash. He even said Cash inspired him while he sat in prison. But when the two men tried working together, Merle's pride got in the way. Merle wanted to outsing Johnny, outwrite him, outlive him on stage. Johnny hated competition in the studio. He worked from emotion, not ego. Merle constantly pushed, compared, and tried to win every session. Cash felt drained, unappreciated, and frustrated that Merle treated every project like a boxing match. Their respect for each other was real, but their working chemistry was terrible. Two giants walking into the same room with too much history and too much pressure. 4. Kris Kristofferson, the brilliant songwriter who overwhelmed him. Kris Kristofferson changed country music forever, but working with him wasn't easy. He walked into a room like a storm of ideas, papers, notebooks, and unfinished lyrics. Johnny admired his genius. He hated the chaos. Kristofferson wanted to rewrite everything. He wanted deeper lyrics. He wanted new arrangements. He pushed Johnny intellectually in ways Johnny didn't always enjoy. Johnny Cash worked on instinct. Kristofferson worked on philosophy. Johnny once joked that recording a song with Kris felt like going back to school. Behind the humor was the truth. Kris made Johnny feel pressured, and sometimes even overshadowed. He loved the man. He hated the working environment. 5. Glen Campbell, the perfectionist who drove him crazy. Glen Campbell was an extraordinary musician. Smooth voice, clean guitar tone, razor-sharp timing. And that was exactly why Johnny Cash struggled to work with him. Campbell demanded precision, every note in its place, every harmony on pitch, every take clean as glass. Johnny Cash was the opposite. He embraced mistakes, imperfections, raw emotion. To Cash, a perfect recording felt lifeless. Working with Campbell was like mixing fire and ice. Their sessions turned into silent battles. Johnny ignoring instructions, Campbell restarting takes, engineers caught in the middle. They respected each other deeply, but they created better music apart than together. 6. Charlie Rich, the man who couldn't hide his jealousy. Charlie Rich, the Silver Fox, was an incredible musician, but his resentment toward Cash was legendary. Charlie felt Cash got opportunities he deserved. He believed Johnny was overrated, and he didn't hide it. Cash hated jealousy, hated negativity, hated bitterness in the studio. When they tried working together, Charlie's attitude killed the entire mood. He questioned the arrangements, criticized Cash's voice, and made backhanded comments. Johnny never forgot it. It wasn't anger, it was disappointment. Johnny expected professionalism. What he got was ego.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.